Hey, what's going on, guys? Sean here, CEO and co-founder of the Insurance Hustle Mastermind and the Insurance Hustle podcast. Got my co-host and partner here, Doug. I appreciate you taking some time. I kind of sprung this on him spur of the moment. I know it's been just a little bit since we've done one of our podcast episodes, so we wanted to get this out to you guys. Doug, why don't you tell them real quick before we get started about the Insurance Inner Circle and a little bit about that program and how they can get some more information on it.
Yeah, so you can get information at insurance-hustle.com. Basically, the Insurance Inner Circle program is it's a coaching program for agents where we talk marketing efforts, sales process, different strategies there, to scale and grow your business. So we dive into putting together ROI calculators, business plans, looking at when to hire, what kind of structure to hire people under, as you hire people, how many leads you need to generate to get there. So you kind of have a holistic approach to your agency. So it's not just, a marketing program to coach you on how to generate leads. It's not just a sales program. It kind of is, take your agency from level A to level B through the whole program.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, so check that out. Again, that's insurance-hustle.com, and you'll find some more information about that and other programs and products that we have for you to grow your agency as well. Awesome. All right. Well, Doug, I want to talk, a little bit about getting back to the basics. That's our topic discussion today. We obviously we talk about this a lot. Dealt with it, with coaching thousands of agents from around the country. And what really prompted the topic of conversation was talking with one of our clients who is up in New York and just been with us a long time, I think 5 years, been through the coaching programs, using the Lead Genie system, using the Facebook campaigns and the exclusive marketing that we're doing. And, he's just always had a great track record of success. And so we started talking about, why agents seem to be struggling and what's going on, not just surrounding the shutdown and things like that, but all of that aside, we're seeing a sort of a problem emerge in the industry of agents struggling. And, there's a lot of shifts happening from new carriers coming, artificial intelligence. You've got, massive changes happening with the big five, how they're pricing their products. You're seeing, a lot of competition from these internet giants. And it's just created a whirlwind of changes at all companies, not just within the independent market, but with captive companies as well, changing compensation structures, really focusing on new business, pricing changes. And then you got the marketing side and how to reach consumers and, lead companies having to adopt to new technologies and new ways to generate leads. And so there's just been a massive amount of change and a lot, it's like drinking out of a fire hose for a lot of these agents, especially the guys that have been around a long time, 10, 15 years. You've done business for so long a certain way, and then over the last 3 to 5 years, everything has just completely changed. And a lot of agents are really kind of in a bad spot or, struggling to figure out, okay, what do I do? We're seeing agents come out of, semi-retirement, having to all of a sudden start working again and, trying to meet these aggressive standards for growth that companies are putting forward because it's more competitive. And, the renewal train and the cross sells and referrals simply don't cut it anymore. And, we talked a little bit about what we see happening, and there's obviously a wide range of things going on. Excuse me. A wide range of things going on, but I think, it gets down to the fundamentals of just getting back to the basics. And, we see agents have gotten so fancy and, tried to get so creative that now they're really complicating and we've almost lost sight of the basics. It's interesting. Doug, I'm sure you can speak to this too. Doug runs the operations side of the marketing agency and is in the trenches working with our account analysts, working with our clients, overseeing the campaigns and doing weekly coachings and things like that with agents from around the country. But, I fielded a question today and the agent said, as we're talking about delivering the lead, the agent said, well, what do we do when we get the lead? And it seems crazy, and you might laugh at that, as you're watching this of like, what do you mean, what do I do when I get the lead? But that's not uncommon. It's not an uncommon question, believe it or not. Like, how do we work the lead? literally get that question. And so, agents are just totally confused and have, in a lot of cases, confused themselves. And we've lost sight of the basics. So I want to talk about that. Doug, speak a little bit on, kind of what you do day to day and, some of the things that you've seen agents struggling with and, how do they, what basics are you seeing that people have really gotten away from so that, maybe the listeners can, find themselves of like, what, I probably got away from that myself. That, after a small change, you see a difference in production and closing.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit about what I do day to day is, like Sean said, the operations side. So I'm dealing with, all the actual accounts, the lead generation, making sure that the automations and campaigns are staying up to date, and delivering as promised. But on the flip side of that, I also get the opportunity to work with agents and their teams on weekly reviews. And the reality is we hear the same things over and over again, in regards to these leads don't work, I can't get in contact with them, quality, we're not competitive on price, all the same reasons for them not being able to sell. And what I find is, honestly, the reality is the same agent that can't sell, 10 leads that come in is the same one that is going to get to 100 leads with no sale. Because it doesn't have to do with the volume, and that seems to be what most agents are indoctrinated with. I just need more swings. I just need more swings. Well, sorry, if the swings you're taking aren't quality swings on your side from a sales process, you at some point can't blame the lead quality. They need insurance. That's why they came to you. And if you're not taking a quality swing to knock it out of the park, you got to look at what you're doing on your side with things. And some of the small adjustments we see agents make is, one, something as simple as, and it never ceases to amaze me when I ask the agent or their team, like, well, how often do you guys role play a week? Oh, well, we don't. I mean, I give them word tracks to follow and blah blah. Okay, you give your team a word track, but you have no clue how good they are at following it. You have no clue if they're just reading off a piece of paper or if they're even looking at it at all. And so then, I get on the phone with them, and after a couple weeks of just once a week with me doing some role plays, all of a sudden somebody who they weren't competitive with, they're now at least in a conversation with them. Now, whether they can close them or not at that point is another story, but at least they're in a quality conversation with them, which is step one. They're not losing them right out the gate, because they're able to do that. And it never ceases to amaze me how many agents don't take 10 minutes a day to role play with their team, and keep them practicing and just assume that they're going to come right off the bat being, a superstar and able to roll, because they got a word track. That's like, I'm sorry, pick your favorite basketball player, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, all of them, like, they don't put X's and O's on the board and then walk out on the court and win a championship. They've ran that play a million times. They've gone to that same spot on the court and shot it hundreds of times. They've envisioned somebody in their face. They've envisioned having to turn around. They've envisioned having to cross somebody over. They've envisioned that free throw at clutch time by themselves in the gym hundreds and thousands of times before they get in there in front of the stadium of people with somebody's hand in their face and having to take that same shot. And that's, I think, the biggest piece that we see missing, with these agents is they're not practicing it alone. They're not, spending the hours in the gym prepping for that conversation. One, and then two, they don't have anything that's tracking the actual activities of the day. And the reality is, I did a webinar a few weeks back on, how I sold 45 households in 30 days, by myself. And when I say households, it's not 45 auto policies, it's 45 households. And so, multi-lines, life, home, auto, all of that, 45 individual households with multiple policies in 30 days. And the reality is, the way I did that, I tracked my activities. I knew exactly how many calls I needed to make to talk to X number of people to have X number of closes. And I made those calls every single day, religiously. I also wrote down every single time I was told no or given an objection. I had a notepad next to my phone and I wrote it down. And I practiced, and when I went home that night or the next morning or whatever the case may be, I practiced what I would say next time I got that objection. How would I overcome that next time? And with that, practice and with that amount of activities, eventually my swings got better and better and better and better to where now I'm closing 45 households a week. And when I rolled that out to my sales team and said, hey, here's the daily activities we're going to do. I want you to write down every objection every morning. You're here at 8. At 8:01, we're going through objections for the next 10, 15 minutes every single day. And what I found was by the end of the year, with my team, they were averaging 20 to 25 households themselves every single month, because they had put in the time to practice and overcome the objections they're getting. They knew what the activities were they had to do every day. They could track those. They knew if they made 100 phone calls a day, it should result in this many conversations, which results in this many closes. If they're short on their closes, they know where they could trace that back in their activities and see where they missed the boat that day. And agencies aren't doing that now. They're hoping that the next lead is the saving lead, when the reality is the lead that you have is perfect. They need insurance just like the next person. It's just going to take some effort to get them on the phone, because the reality is the prospect has more options today than they've ever had, and insurance is more consumeristic than it's ever been. So you're going to need a real salesperson. And just kind of wrap up that thought with this, I know I was talking to an agent yesterday, and I told him, the reality is most agencies are, drive-throughs. We're order takers, and the only way that you get to be better and get higher numbers is by taking more orders in that regard. And I was like, we expect people to pull off the street, say, I'm hungry right now. I need something to fill my stomach right now. And they pull off the street and they pull into the McDonald's drive-through. They have a menu of, 10, 12 options on there. They say through the little speaker, I want a number 2. They pull up to the window, they give their credit card, we give them a number 2, and they're out the door. And that's how we treat insurance, is we want the person to come in and say, I want auto insurance, please. Here's my credit card number. And if we have the better price, then we give them the auto insurance and they drive off. Versus the reality is insurance is a grocery store. People are walking in thinking, I have a family of 4 to feed. I'm thinking I want chicken tonight. What seasonings do I want to put on it? What do I want my side to be? Do I want carrots? Do I want mashed potatoes? Do I want salad? Do I want this? How do I want to cook? Do I want to fry it? Do I want to broil it? Do I want to grill it? Do I want to, all of these different options with the different pieces, and they get to piece together what's going to fit their family for dinner that night. And insurance really should be that. We should be the experts that come in and say, you know what, you want this cut of meat, it goes really well with this side, and you should pair this wine with it. And that's what you need for dinner. And we become a consultant and an advisor to what's going to be the best fit to their family, not an order taker who just fills their number 2 order.
No, yeah, I think it's a really good point. As you were talking, I was pulling up some of our ad campaigns and some of the feedback that we're getting from consumers. And what's interesting, we have a very unique vantage point from where we sit to work with agents in different companies, in different markets, and different sizes and experience levels. But we also get to see agents in the same market with the same company and differences there. And so it really kind of helps us understand, where folks need to make adjustments based on real examples of people with the same rates, the same company, the same options in the same market, yet very vastly different results. And we're also able to see how consumers behave and what's important to them, and how to get the right folks through the funnels. Talking back on the order taking, a lot of folks are selling on price, and a lot of agents will say they're not doing that, but it is what you're doing. It's what 99% of agents are doing. And unfortunately, it's you almost have to on some of the types of strategies that you're using, right? Like if you're getting leads or doing marketing that's not fitting the value-driven customer, if you're and most of your marketing companies and most of your lead providers are doing price-driven consumer targeting, people who are online looking to save money, right? And that's going to get you a price-driven consumer. And there's a lot of variables of how to get in front of somebody sooner, how to get in front of them with a value proposition. That's a whole nother topic. But what's interesting is, agents think that it's all about price. And we're able to see from real campaigns and real consumers that are giving feedback on, ad campaigns that we're running about that provider, because we're able to target people based on the provider that they're with. And so I'm looking at an ad here that we ran to targeting Geico customers. And the agent was a little apprehensive initially because they said, we get killed by Geico. But, we were able to give some scripts, give some direction, get the team back to the basics, tell them forget the fact that it's Geico. Because like Doug said, they still need insurance, right? And because of some of the strategies that we use, we know how to get quality business from Geico. In fact, I've been with Geico for a long time, and I'm right in the wheelhouse of a State Farm USAA. In fact, I'm a veteran, and I could probably be at USAA. It's just a pain in the ass for me to switch, and I haven't. But here's a customer who says that she switched from Geico to Allstate, and by doing so, she was able to get a $500 deductible instead of a $1,000 deductible. She was able to get towing and roadside service, which she didn't have, as well as rental car reimbursement. That's an example of an agent and she paid more. She paid more for it. So she wasn't interested at all in saving, maybe initially, but when the agent had the right conversation, she was able to see, shit, I don't have $1,000 if I got in a wreck. I don't want that. And you're telling me if I get in a wreck right now, I'm going to have a $1,000 deductible, which I don't have. I don't have rental car coverage, so I wouldn't be able to get to and from work, only compounding the trouble, the money issues that this just caused. And I don't have roadside service if I get a flat. Like, I didn't know any of that. And now she's like, I'm willing to pay an extra 20, 30 bucks a month now because she's got the coverage. But it just took the agent getting back to the basics and looking at the customer's situation and selling to her needs, not to her price. And this happens over and over again. I'm looking at another one here, very similar deal with somebody from USAA who, a lot of agents are afraid to go against USAA, but here's a person who says that, they've been a loyal USAA customer and their rates have gone up 6 years in a row, no tickets, no accidents. That's an ideal customer, right? So you got to kind of get out of your own way in terms of thinking, oh, I can't get USAA, they're too loyal, or I can't compete against a Geico or a Progressive, because at the end of the day, if you're just worried about the fact that you can't sell on price, you're gonna struggle because there's always going to be somebody cheaper, always. Doug, anything you want to add on that?
I was gonna say the reality is if you're worried about who their current company is and you're worried about how much they're currently paying, you've already lost. I hear of too many agents that when I ask them, well, take me through your sales conversation, one of the first 3 questions they ask is, well, who are you currently insured with? How much are you currently paying? Doesn't matter. Like when I would get on the phone with an insurance prospect, or my team would, I didn't care who they were currently insured with. I didn't care what they were currently paying. In fact, I would never even ask how much they were currently paying because it didn't matter. All that mattered is the price that I was giving them and what it was worth to be with my agent. And there's value in that. And I think a lot of agents sell themselves short where they get into this conversation of, oh, you're paying $120 a month. I'm 125. I hope that works for you. Well, are you telling me your agency, them being a client of yours, them being able to call you and ask questions, them being able to come into your office and meet with you about their insurance, them being able to call you and say, hey, I was just in a wreck, I don't know what to do, isn't worth $5 a month? You're not worth $5 a month? I mean, for me, like, it was worth an extra $100 a month for that client to be with my agency. So it didn't matter what they were currently paying. For me, it was worth $100+ just to be with my agency, despite what the premium was. And I would tell my sales guys all the time, how much do you think you're worth to your client? How much is your time worth? Because I'm paying you as your agent. I'm paying you, I mean, if we broke it down, probably $20+ an hour after commissions and all that. So your time's worth something to me. Why isn't your time worth something to the client? If they don't see it that way, then you're not selling it correctly. Because there should be value in being with you.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is, systems and processes. And I think, if you're getting back into growth mode, maybe whether that be out of, the shutdown and the stay at home and you're getting back into it, or you're coming out of your semi-retirement and you're having to, start picking up because you're losing business, you've got company standards that need to be met, but you're getting into growth mode. If you're looking to grow your agency, you need to have a process. You have to have a sales process. You have to have a follow-up process. You've got to eliminate the variables. And this is basic level stuff, guys. If you've got 4 different salespeople in your office and you're letting them all sell 4 different ways and follow up 4 different ways, you will never find the variable that's causing you to miss your closing percentages and miss your production goals. You've got to be able to eliminate the variables and say, hey, all things being the same, I know we called this much, I know we follow up this much, I know our quote to bind and our call to quote rate is X. Now we just need to look at what's the variable here, where are we missing out on the system? And if you don't have one, you either need to get in a program where you can learn from other agents, or you need to develop one. And a lot of times what I have to do with clients is say, listen, here's what we need. We need to get the data and get a foundation put in place. If you don't know how many times on average you call somebody in order to get that initial appointment, and how many times you have to follow up, and how long it takes you from the time you get that initial contact made, if you don't know definitively what your sales process looks like, then you have to establish that. So what that means is you have to be relentless. When you get a lead and you get an opportunity, you have to call as many times as it takes, whether it's 3 times or 33 times. You have to establish, okay, now that I've got some data and I've got, 15 sales, I know it took 8 calls to get that initial appointment. I know it took 3 calls after the initial appointment, and I know the average, time from end to end is about 12 days. Now you can cut the cord on maybe putting a file in for an X date because you've now called more than that 8 times. Maybe you're on call 13. Well, now you're not calling anymore, but you're doing that because the data says this is what the norm is, this is my highest probability, and you're not cutting it short at 4 because you feel like maybe they're not interested. You have to use data to drive your sales process, your follow-up process, and how you handle things. When you have a process, and here's what we talked about with one of our clients, earlier this week, was with the process in place, the lead source is a negligible variable. Because whether it's Quote Wizard, EverQuote, Facebook, exclusive leads, live transfers, on scale, big picture, it doesn't matter. It all shakes out to be the same. And we've seen that as well with our marketing automation platform. We've seen very consistent results for folks that are consistently mailing, that are consistently telemarketing, consistently doing email marketing, using Facebook marketing. At the end of the day, they all pretty much hash out to be the same if you're consistent. If you send mail campaigns and you're consistent and you hit the same people and you hit them the number of times you're supposed to with that campaign, you're going to see a very fixed return on that. You're going to know and have predictable results. If you call, and we have calls, we've got an in-house call center here, and we know the data. For every 100 dials we make, 10 people will answer, and we're going to get 1 to 3 people say that they want to quote. It doesn't matter what time of day, it doesn't matter what the source of the lead, we're going to see that consistently. But the problem is most of you don't have any sort of consistency with anything that you do. It's a month here, 2 weeks here, 100 here, 500 there, this provider, that provider. Let's try Facebook for a little bit. You're just kind of throwing things out there. No real intention behind why you're doing it. No clear-cut goals of what you're trying to accomplish out of it. You have no benchmarks that you're looking at to establish whether or not it was successful. You don't know what your ROI is. And so at the end of the day, you end up in this hamster wheel that you stay stuck in because you have no process, you have no tracking, you have no benchmarks, and you have no consistency. And you simply can't run a business that way. It just doesn't work. And you can't rely on cross-sells and referrals. We did a survey of all of our clients, and we saw a very clear trend that people between $1 to $5 million book with 1 to 3 sales employees are stuck between 40 and 60 items a month, and they can't seem to get over that. And you ask them, they're all buying leads from the same providers, spending relatively about the same amount of money, and you ask them, okay, well, where is most of your business come from? Here's all your marketing. Where's your business coming from? Referrals and cross-sells. And that's a huge disconnect. The guys that are actually hitting triple-digit numbers, seeing return on investment, growing their team, not worried about the lead source, not worried about shutdowns or quarantines, are people who have a system in place. They have predictable and measurable results, and they're able to tell you that most of their business is coming from the marketing. Referrals and cross-sells is just gravy. No top producer will ever tell you they rely on referrals and cross sells to keep their doors open. Doug, anything you want to add on that?
No, just the fact that, I mean, it sounds great to say I get, 40 referrals a month from a mortgage officer, a realtor, or car salesman, or wherever it may come from. The reality is the amount of work that takes, I think, is very underestimated, and the inconsistency of it is huge. I think back to I spent, hours upon hours cultivating a relationship with a mortgage officer at a top producing, loan office here in Arizona, and I was getting between 40 to 45 referrals from him a month. And then because it was better for him, he switched companies. And for 3 months, I was lucky if I got 5 from him while he was ramping up with the new company. And so I don't have control over that. I just lost, 35 to 40 referrals a month overnight because I was reliant on him and his production, and he made a career move for himself. And so, the hours that were spent developing that didn't get me anywhere at the end of the day, because all of a sudden I'm left with my hand in my pocket and no leads coming in. And so that's where, you got to have that multifaceted approach, and referrals and things like that are great, but you can't control the referral source. What you can control is your marketing source.
That's right. Well, listen, guys, I really appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this, make sure you check us out on blogtalkradio.com/insurance hustle. Check us out on insurance-hustle.com. Join us on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We've got a lot of good content coming for you. Join our Insurance Hustle group on Facebook if you're not already in there. We've got 5,000 plus agents at this point, sharing a lot of great information, passing referrals, free marketing resources, and it's just a really fantastic community. We're really proud of what we've built there. There's no drama or any trash talk or anything like that in the group. It's just a great place to network and get some best practices. We've seen a lot of business get done out of that group within the membership. It's free to join, so check it out, Insurance Hustle. And definitely appreciate you being with us today, and we will see you next time.